And we all live. Y'all should already know it's your boy Dabrand knows we back at it once again. And I'm just glad today ain't Monday.
Let me see you bounce like a Playboy bunny. Being broke is a joke, ain't a damn thing funny.
Monday is the worst, first day of the week. Always seem to feel I never get enough sleep.
That's that vibe.
Tuesday's the one day, feels like a Sunday. And if it wasn't for Monday, I wouldn't even notice. Wednesday's the hump day, get you out the slump day.
Right.
Thursday's the day before that bread, so you come day. Friday's the next, direct deposit. And now it's the weekend and you didn't realize.
First day of the week. Always seem to feel I never get enough sleep. Tuesday's the one day that feels like a Sunday. But if it wasn't for Monday, I wouldn't even notice. Wednesday's the hump day, get you out the slump day. Thursday's the day before that bread, so you come day. Friday's the next, direct deposit. It's the weekend, baby, didn't realize. Y'all already know we about to get directly into the motherfucking situation at hand because I believe either your boy Brandon Tatum is a bootlicker or he's an evil genius. 40 Wolves. What we doing? Y'all know where we going with this shit right now. Look, that's the count right there. You see some numbers moving. You know we got some niggas watching in this moment. But yeah, y'all know how we do, man. We get y'all up to speed with the Nolan Wells case. Y'all already know who's on the screen. Give it up for Big Cuss. 40 Wolves. Y'all know what time it is, right? It's time to react, baby. Let's go.
Attention. I want y'all to lock in. Please hurry up and save this video before they erase it. Hurry up and save this video before they erase it. We have a new timeline. Shout out to the nerdy pink panda on TikTok, J Megan. There is a new timeline. Y'all already know how strict they've been with her channel. Everything she upload, they try to erase it. But this time, we all on it before they even do that. So make sure y'all hype this video, make sure y'all hit the like button, and make sure y'all are subscribing. Check this out.
Oh, these little liars. I told y'all that Jax was the ringleader. I told y'all. He sat in this interview and he was telling stories about shit that he wasn't even there to witness. So let's break down some of the stuff that I heard in this interview. Let's start with Warren's first phone call because y'all will remember that Warren said that he was over at Ava's house for that 4th of July party when they all started realizing that Nolan was missing, and he called Miss Christine at 11 o'clock.
One of the first things I told Miss Christine Wells in the first phone call that ever occurred with anything to do with Nolan Wells being gone, because I was the first person to call Miss Christine about anything. First phone call, anything to do with Nolan Wells, was me making a phone call to Christine Wells. And one of the first things I said to her, with multiple witnesses here, pull up the phone call if you want. She said, oh, well, Nolan's location is with y'all at, where the house we were at. And I was like, well, no, he left.
They should pull up that phone call. Because I really want to hear that call at this time. You know what I mean? Because these little dudes ran around for the last month telling another story. And now the story done changed. And if the bootlicker and the rest of the situation don't understand that these dudes is covering something up, it's a big conspiracy, baby.
His phone with us. I told her this.
And yesterday, the same time that this interview came out, Christine Wells said this.
360 says that he's on land, and he was like, well, no, I mean, we have his phone.
So both versions of the story say that Warren didn't tell her about the phone until after she confronted him with the 360. Now, Warren tells Miss Christine that he knows somebody in the Coast Guard and that he's going to call them, which is very fucking different than calling the Coast Guard, which absolutely explains why the Coast Guard came out and said at first that they had not received a call from the kids that night. The Coast Guard's initial statement said they weren't informed until 12:30. Then the Coast Guard later changed their story and said, oh wait, actually we did. And it seems to me that that first call was most likely an off-the-record to a friend kind of deal, which means these people freaked out and didn't call the Coast Guard until after all these people showed up at Jax's house.
I told you they all connected.
Which would explain why in the course of this interview it went from Warren called the Coast Guard to we did. Now, when the subject turns to how the family got the phone back from these boys, you'll notice that there was a couple slip-ups.
Warren, you weren't at the house, and so you weren't there when they came to get the phone and all that. So
now remember, Warren just said that he wasn't at the house when the phone was got. And then Morgan talks about getting a phone call from one of the people in Christine Wells' group.
And how did they get the phone back?
So I got a call from a kid we went to high school with. He called me.
You know what I don't like? They always double speaking. You understand? Yeah. You know, I got a phone call from a buddy of mine, a friend from high school. Who the fuck is he, B? Yo, stop with all this double talk, man. Who is your friend? What's his name? Where he live at? What's his telephone number? Cause we need to holler at him too. You know what I'm saying? They keep trying to disguise people in the background. Yo, my buddy, my friend. Well, who the fuck is your buddy and your friend, man? Stop playing with us, little boy. Yo, Tatum, you either an evil genius, man, or you gonna still be that bootlicker at the end of this thing right here, man. We gonna determine what's going on. If you really got these dudes to sit up here and snitch on themselves, I might have to give you an apology, man. You know what I'm saying? We gonna see, man. Cause there's no way you could be doing the things you doing, not knowing that these dudes is guilty. Talking about these boys are innocent. This sound like innocence to you, my man? Huh? Tatum. This might be your opportunity to get back on the good side, the right side, where you belong. Let's go.
Just asking me questions. He saw people posting on Snapchat, like the picture that was circulating.
Except this picture wasn't posted until July 5th. So how could this picture have been circulating on Snapchat that night? But let's continue.
And he called and he was asking questions. He was like, "Where's Nolan? When's the last time y'all seen him?" And then he was like, "So where are y'all at?" And I told him, I said, "We're at Jax's house." And then Warren got on the phone, and I don't know.
So they come to my house, right? And they kind of
hold on before we get there. Was it confrontational or was it just trying to find? It was confrontational already.
Wouldn't y'all agree?
Yeah.
He was 110%. He was very confrontational.
And when did this was this on the night of the 4th or the next day?
This was the night when this was before they came and got the phone.
So this is the night of the 4th, yes.
You guys are missing a part of the story. How did you get from Ava's house to Jax's house? Because Miss Christine is watching you guys on the Life 360. So suddenly she's seeing the phone leave one location and go to another. Of course I would be upset. And now all of a sudden Warren is there when the phone stuff starts happening? He's listening to the phone call? Now I need y'all to remember that Warren also said that the phone was in his truck on the first conversation, as we have from this report. Meaning if we were to believe Warren that he was not there when everybody showed up looking for the phone at some time in between 11 and 1 a.m., so then that would mean after they heard this angry phone call, Warren gets the phone out of his vehicle and puts it in Jack's house and then leaves.
There's probably like 10, 15 people in my house I don't even know. And they're all up in our faces, going crazy, asking where Nolan is, and we don't know. And finally they get into Wyatt's face and
Yo, remember this. What's the number on that video right now? All right, we're gonna lock this point in. He said that he didn't know where Nolan was at this point. Y'all got that, right?
they're like, "Where's your boat? Where's the boat at?"
Demanding his address.
Demanding his address and stuff like that. And he finally ends up giving it to him.
We give them the phone. They have the phone at this point. Then they get the address to his house. Then they go to his house. And they're searching all over his boat, what I heard and stuff like that. Well, anyways, I don't really know much about that, but they come back to my house at around 1 o'clock in the morning. We called law enforcement. I was with Wyatt at the time. After we left Jackson's house that night, I was with Wyatt, and one person we were with saw that their location was headed towards Wyatt's house. And so Wyatt got on the phone with 911 and was like, "Hey, these people are on the way to my house, or already at my house. My mom and my dad are there alone, and they know nothing about this." But Wyatt's mom actually, when they were looking at the boat, they were actually walking from the boat, and she came out and started talking to them.
Okay, so let me get this straight. Wyatt Morgan and Jax were all together. Warren was gone for some reason at this point. 10 to 15 people just barge into your house. Don't know why your grandparents weren't around. That might explain some things, huh? Guess y'all had the house all to your fucking self that weekend. But then they ask Wyatt for his address so that they can go look at the boat. Wyatt gives them the address. They start heading over there. Wyatt and Morgan get into a car and leave Jax's house. Somebody else that you were with that we aren't hearing about is tracking someone else's phone. I don't know if it was somebody who was with the group that they had access to, or if they were tracking Nolan's phone and they saw it was heading to Wyatt's house. And even though Wyatt gave them the address and
she is cooking. I don't care if you gotta slow motion it. Understand what she's putting down. Please slow motion it, save it before they try to come after. Bruh, you must understand what she's putting down.
instead of calling his parents, he calls 911 and tells them, my parents don't know anything about that's going on. Can you send police over there? Now, mind you, it was about half an hour after being on the phone with Warren that Christine was able to actually call and report him missing. But she was having to go back and forth and go down to all these different agencies because nobody would fucking help her. And frankly, I want to know why all of this confrontation was left out of the fucking report. Like, if this family had to be removed from 2 different properties by the police, why is there no record of that? And in fact, it wasn't until after these confrontations that MDMR and Ocean Springs Police apparently had their little conversations about who was going to be taking over the case. Because remember, the Jackson County Sheriff Lieutenant told them that deputies had spoken with several friends that had traveled to the island on the vessel with Nolan, and that when they were left, he was in the company of an unknown female. So now, even though Warren had supposedly called the Coast Guard, all these family members are telling the police that the kid is missing. These are the people that last saw them. They're all like, we last saw him on the island. Still, the deputies said that they did not have reason to believe that there was any water-related exigencies or emergencies. Don't worry, y'all. I've got a lot fucking more to say about this stuff, so come back for part 2. I'm gonna be immediately recording it because Warren fucked up pretty badly in this interview, and I'll show you why.
Alright, now I hope y'all still with me. Make sure you get the likes up so this could get pushed in the algorithm, because people need to see this information. Alright, let's get part 2.
Where we had left off, Warren had already called Miss Christine, and then they somehow ended up at Jax's grandparents' house. That's where they all stayed that weekend, and so that's why Nolan's keys were over there. They had to have been at the grandparents' house, who mysteriously never showed up during any of these confrontations. Somehow the phone had gone from the party that they were all at to Jax's place, and then Warren left after a phone call to Morgan. According to them, 10 to 15 people showed up and just walked into Jax's house and demanded the phone. Wyatt gave the address in which the boat was at. They all start migrating over there. Then Morgan and Wyatt and another friend are tracking their 360s and seeing that they're going over to Wyatt's house. Then they call 911 to tell them that the police are on the way to his house. Then they're searching the boat, and then they come back to Jax's house around 1 o'clock in the morning, according to him. Mind you, that's when they explain to the police about their friend being missing. And so then the report says at 1:38 in the morning, the Jackson County Sheriff's Office say that they spoke to several of the friends that were on the vessel with Nolan, saying that he was in the company of an unknown female. But Morgan, Jax, and Warren all claimed that they did not travel to the island on the same boat as Nolan. So who did they talk to? Because it sounds to me like they had told the police that they were on the same boat as him. Keeping in mind that this is what Warren told Miss Christine.
Named Katie. And so then it turned into, Katie is also missing. No one can find her. And the explanation of no one knows this Katie, like we've never met her.
And Tristan said this.
I was talking on my other buddy's phone, talking to Warren. He was dialing Coast Guard because he hung up the phone and was like, hey, this is them, bye, and hung up the phone. And that was the last time I talked to him.
Mind you, Tristan is friends with Katie. They are mutuals. I have confirmed this. So now that we've got that timeline fucking...
Pause right here. Let me explain. Tristan right here, right? We gonna say that, but let's just say Tristan, the dude that's right there, that was just talking, right? His thing is, he was supposed to go out with the group of 20 niggas, but his uncle was like, yo, nigga, I need you to work with me on the boat, because I'm taking the boat to Horns Island. I got about 11 people. They want to take the trip. You know what I mean? They do it for money. So he was just like working for his uncle that morning, so he couldn't go with Nolan and them. So his uncle and them left, broke out with 11 people, went to Horns Island, pulled up, parked. Then Warren and these niggas came behind him in 3 different boats. That nigga that was just talking, Tristan, he was telling them niggas, yo, park right here, park, pull up. Then he was tying all the boats together. That's what he just told us. Yeah, when they came, I pull in. So all y'all boats is right here in the same vicinity, right? But then when they telling their stories, they making it seem like his boat was way over there and his boat was way over there. Because he said, because I went back to my boat and Nolan went to his boat. I ain't see him again. Like his boat was on the other side of the beach. Nigga, y'all tied the boats all together right here. So don't act like he got on his boat and you couldn't see him no more, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Then they gonna say, they asked this stupid nigga, yo, when was the last time you seen Nolan, man? He's like, well, the last time I seen Nolan, we was in passing. He was going to his boat, and I was going to my boat. And then he was with that girl. You know, I told him I had to tell him something. Yo, hey, you funny being with that. Yeah. I had to say something slick about the girl he was with, man. But I told him, I love you, man. I was so drunk, I had to tell him, man. You know what I'm saying? I had so much to drink that day. You know, I felt emotional. I told him I love him, man. And then I went, and 10 minutes later, I got into a fight. All right, what you got into a fight about, Tristan? Oh, nah, because, you know, me and my girl, we was swimming around in the water. You know, she was mad at me because I lost a little cushy. It floated off. You know, I told her, look, I don't want to argue, baby. I just want to get another beer. And she said, well, go get yourself a beer because I ain't getting nothing. And then she swam off. And then this guy, butting in my business, gonna tell me, yo, don't be talking to your girl like that, man. And I said, listen, partner, me and my girl is good. And then we just started fighting. It was an all-out brawl. Because he told me to stop talking to my girlfriend like that. And then my uncle, he on the boat. He seen the fight. So he looked at me. And I just stopped fighting and jumped on the boat, man. And my uncle was like, yo, you messed up the whole trip, man. We got to get out of here now. So they broke out. Now, mind you, they came out there. They brought people. They brought people with them on the boat. So I guess all 8 trips is ruined now because of this dude, right? But who was it that you was fighting with, Tristan? You said you was in a fight, right? Who was you fighting? You understand? Nobody know who he was fighting. That's one. Then he said, there was this big clip that went out. Somebody was saying, yo, give me back my phone. Yo, give me my phone, man. We said, that's Nolan telling y'all niggas give him his phone. Nolan only nigga right now to this day with a missing phone that you niggas got. But on the beach, somebody saying, yo, give me my phone. You can't really see who it is, but you can hear somebody saying, give me my phone. This bitch nigga gonna come out and say that was him. Tristan, he said, yo, that was me saying, give me my phone. What was the reason you was asking for your phone, man? You was in the water. According to you dudes, y'all don't swim with your phones. When y'all get off, y'all put your phones on the dashboard of the boat that you was on. So you in water with your girl, so that means you and your girl phone should be on the boat, bruh. You ain't had no reason to be with your phone in the water, telling your girl you want to get another beer, and then you got into a fight. So where's the point that you got your phone that you calling off the boat? Yo, give me my phone. That's not you, man. You's a liar. And you gonna pay for lying. Now he mad because I went to the store and they told me my money's no good here. Why you think that is, man? Because you got up here and just tried to divert the people off of what the fuck we trying to do here, bruh. First of all, you lied. That's not you talking about getting my phone. You can't even give us an explanation for why you would be asking for your phone at the particular point in time. Kenny, you just said you left Nolan, right? You and your girl walked off into the water. Y'all was standing there. Y'all got into a little argument. She swam off. You got into a fight. Your phone is on the boat, bruh. So if you got back on the boat and your uncle's like, nah, we got to get out of here. We got to go. We got to leave. Why are you asking anybody for your phone? And your phone ain't missing now, is it, sir? You got your phone back? Okay, cool. Because the only one still with a missing phone at this point is Nolan. Get it? So after he did that, told niggas it was his phone and all that. He can't come up with a reason why. Okay. Now you mad because people telling you your money's no good in they stores. Huh? Good for you. That's good for you, homie. You shouldn't even put yourself in this story. He ain't had nothing to do with this story. You know that, right? Him and his uncle left. They was there already. These niggas that's in the story pulled up. If he never would have said that was me talking about that was my phone, his name never would have came up in the story. You understand that? So he interjected himself into the situation. And now you mad because niggas won't let you spend your money at their stores, nigga. I wouldn't let you spend none at my store either, B. Matter of fact, I don't want to see your face on this block again, homie. Because if we do, it might be a problem. Because you know what happened to Nolan over there, and you just not tried to motherfucking throw a monkey wrench in the situation, dog. That's what he did. He really tried to motherfucking hinder the process. So that means you're now going to be charged for tampering with evidence. You understand that, right, Tristan? Tampering with evidence, man. That's a serious offense, bro. 5 to 10 for something like that, man. And we're going to see you get all 10 of those.
Straight. Let's back up to something that Warren said during this interview.
If you're motivated enough to do it, yeah. Like, I made a phone call to my mom, and I had to call her like 8 times before she picked up because either her service was bad, because she was on the back side of the aisle on the south side, or my service was.
Got him. Y'all heard him, right? His mom was on the back side of the island. Right? Christine, who was Nolan Wells' mother, the night she went back to the island looking for her son, right? She was on the phone with her mother. And she was walking the whole island. They walked from one end of the island to the next, my G. And she was on her phone the whole time talking to her mother, telling her what was going on. And not one time did her call drop. So all that shit y'all keep talking, there's no service over there, that's a lie. There's service on the island. That's why when y'all call the Cito lady, the lady was like, is y'all on the island? No, lady, we in 31 feet of water. Well, it looked like y'all guys are docked. They want us to believe they couldn't make that call from the island. But clearly you could. And then you got Bootlicker Tatum and them 2 lawyers we watched yesterday. They said, if you didn't go to the island, you really couldn't tell what was going on. Yes, we could. What you mean? We got to be on the island and really know what's going on? No, we don't. We don't, man. Yeah, you just can't tell us shit that we know. Technology is a hell of a thing, man. You know it just works, right? The dude sat and said, yeah, there's satellite. So if it's a satellite, motherfucker, you trying to make us believe COVID couldn't go around that little petition, right? When you went in the store, they had the plastic there, right? You had to talk through that shit at one point, right? Because COVID couldn't just go around that shit. That's what they want us to believe, the satellite, but it couldn't just beam on the island. Fuck is they playing with, dog? We on their case. Tristan, you shouldn't have interjected yourself into the situation, and then you go in the store and buy all the Red Bulls and Gatorades you wanted.
Bad, and it was just hard to get through.
Do y'all see that?
Was somebody mother on the boat? Was somebody mother on the island? Check it out, y'all.
Let me play it again slower for you.
Either her service was bad, because she was on the back side of the aisle on the south side, or my service was bad, and it was just hard to get through.
Oh no. Not only did Warren confirm that his mom was on the south side of the island, but Warren himself said that if you're motivated enough, you can call somebody. I tried calling my mom 8 times. Yet this is what he said last time.
A little off the island, you have cell coverage, and even on the island, like I called my mom when we were on the island, it was fine.
So which is it? Did you call your mom with ease, or did you try to...
Protect J. Megan at all costs. Protect this lady. And this goes to show you, all that shit Brandon Tatum be talking about, oh, y'all just don't like white people. It's because they're white. It's because we wouldn't be playing Secret Service Sam over here. We wouldn't be playing J. Megan over here. We wouldn't be playing no damn Nancy Grace if it was just about skin color. Understand, this is a war of good and evil. This is a spiritual war. I'm not thinking about that. Protect J. Megan at all costs.
Call her 8 times because you were motivated to get in touch with her. But Warren wasn't the only one to slip up, because listen.
And he's on the phone with Cito, and he's trying to get them on the phone. And as he stated in the moment, he's like, Cito's just asking all these dumb questions. I can't, figure out what's going on. And so finally hangs up. And after the trim to the motor started to work again. So they manually trim it down by the buttons on the motor, trimmed it down, and some electronics started to come back on, and they got the boat to crank over, and they're like, all right, untie us.
So first off, Jax just proved that the boys put the phone on mute during the call with Cito, because I've listened to the entire 8-minute call, and at no point does they ever say anything about them asking all these stupid questions. Then he said after they hung up on the Cito, that's when it started working again, and they said, okay, untie us, implying that it had been tied up to the other boat the entire time. But we see in this video that they are hauling the line back in right here as he's on the phone. See, you can see right here where the line is being pulled in from across the way where the boat is stationed. Meaning he had already hung up with Cito at that point, and he had to have been on the phone with someone else. And what we see here...
Who said that in the last video? Was it the last video or the video before last? I said that video you can't hear through the video who the hell he on the phone with. We don't know who he on the phone with. We just hear Brandon Tatum loud ass mouth saying he's on the phone with Cito. That's why he keeps on reiterating he's on the phone with Cito. We don't know who the hell he on the phone with in that video.
Is once again we have an interview where they go into so much detail about stuff that doesn't matter.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and first off explain a boat.
We fucking get how a bilge pump works. We get it by now. Stop fucking talking about the bilge pump. What we actually want to hear about is the multiple stops that were made before ending up back at the grandparents' house before they even took the boat to the boat dock. We want you guys to explain how the Cito was canceled by the grandfather on the captain's private line before you guys had even hung up with Cito. That's why nobody believes a word that you are saying. Because I showed y'all yesterday how AI had clearly doctored these photos. If you missed it, look, silver pole. Look, no silver pole. It's actually white. And if you look at this picture in the grandparents' driveway of the Triton, you will see that the little handrails are not leaning over. You will see that the rails are going straight up and down and not leaning, which is why I also suspect that the identity of whoever this is was intentionally covered up. Because first off, who wears this weird swimsuit thing? This is somebody who, if they were with them, would have stood out in a crowd. But this woman who's in a red striped swimsuit with a white baseball cap shows up in a lot of different pictures, just oh so obscured. Here she is again, handing out beers on Bart's boat. So I personally suspect that whoever that was in fact on the Triton, and they used AI to change her clothing and to obscure her identity. Because I think this was either Warren's mother or Wyatt's stepmother, which would explain the older female voice people have said they've heard on the Cito. Because otherwise, why would he need to call his mother 8 times? Unless, according to his own words,
If you're motivated enough to do it, yeah.
Because remember, there is a 4th boat out there. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Holy fuck, I just accidentally stumbled onto something that literally is concrete proof. Oh my god, next video coming. Oh my god!
I'm gonna try to get the 3rd video. I try to wait for it, but I need to get y'all this so y'all could go ahead and screen record it. But I just came across a video, people already on it. They are already on it. You got people already saying, no, he didn't just say his mother was on that island. Watch this, y'all.
He didn't just admit that his mother was at Horn Island too, right? He didn't just admit this.
Realistically, you could.
You could. If you want to sit there, if you're motivated enough to do it, yeah. Like, I made a phone call to my mom, and I had to call her like 8 times before she picked up, because either her service was bad, she was on the back side of the aisle on the south side, or my service was bad, and it was just hard to get through. But like, if I went and posted a video on Snapchat, like, honestly, I don't think it would like either post or send to somebody. I think, I sent my buddy where we were at, a buddy of mine, I was like, hey, come meet us, and I sent him a video, and he was like, dude, I couldn't get a hold of you all day. And like, that explains the point. Like, I sent him a video where we were at, and it never sent until I got inshore, because I had to.
Did you hear that? Was she at Horn Island? Because he said he tried to call her, but she was on the back side of the island. Let me hear this one more time.
Like, I made a phone call to my mom, and I had to call her like 8 times before she picked up, because either her service was bad, she was on the back side of the aisle on the south side. I had to call her like 8 times before she picked up, because either her service was...
I can't hold it in. I can't hold it out. Try to be quiet. I can't hold it in. This is why some people are saying, is Brandon Tatum using his officer skills to put them in their own interrogation? Because if he really was an officer like he said, we all know. I don't know how many of y'all know. If you want to get a lie out of somebody, if you want to see if they lying or not, all you do is gotta let them talk.
And keep letting them talk. These dudes just talk themselves right into a situation.
All you do is gotta let somebody talk to figure out if they lying or not. He let them talk, record this shit, and upload it. If you analyze what the hell they're telling on themselves.
That's what I'm saying. Brandon Tatum, man. Oh, see, I just said this dude's name. I must be getting a little respect for you, son. Seems like you trying to do something real popular. Because it's ingenious, man, like the way you did that, man. Let me find out you set these dudes up and didn't even know you were setting them up. That would be the motherfucking bootlicking shit I ever saw in my life.
I done heard some people saying, shit, Brandon Tatum, he's setting them up. I heard people say that, but I don't think so. I think he's just as slow. Once you slow, you think everybody's slow. That's how slow works. I'm telling you, this is how it works. My bad, yeah. It just sometimes I be trying to let the video play, but all that pressure and excitement, I just can't hold it in. But let's get it, y'all.
Bad. She was on the back side of the aisle on the south side. I had to call her like 8 times before she picked up because either her service was bad, she was on the back side of the aisle on the south side. Like if I went and posted a video on Snapchat, like honestly, I don't think it would like either post or send to somebody. I think, I sent my buddy where we were at, a buddy of mine. I was like,
you guys tell me, let me know what you think. Was he talking about the 4th of July or was he talking about another occasion?
Nah, don't give him no ammo.
Back on the next interview and say that was another occasion. Boy, it's so many things like that in the interview.
Yeah, and y'all seen the caption when it said, why are they saying Nolan Wells' full name? Like if your homeboy, you speaking about you gonna have a little nickname. Well, let's just say they don't have a nickname for Nolan Wells. You're not gonna be sitting up there saying Nolan Wells. What? You saying his whole name? That don't sit well. That do not sit well. Listen, bro. They telling on themselves. Y'all make sure y'all screen record these videos. If you ain't got no room or space on your phone, just do like little snippets or something because they coming after the TikTok people because they cooking. They are cooking, y'all. That's the end of the video, y'all. I wanted to hurry up and get that over to y'all because she said a lot. Hell, I'm going to have to go back and analyze what she was saying myself, play by play, because she speaks fast. She got to get it out because they will shut her videos off before she even get it out to us. So we got to hurry up, react to it, give it to y'all. Y'all spread it out, and we just need everybody to have it because we don't know what these people are going to come out with. We don't know
The report gave everyone a timeline. The map gave her questions. An independent investigator known online as Jay took the GPS coordinates from the Citizen Navy report, overlaid them onto her own research, and found stops, docks, and boats that are not in the story anybody told. And she says this is now the 3rd time she has had to remake this video because they keep taking it down. So do yourself a favor, put the phone down, turn the volume up, and pay close attention, because the details in this one are not the kind you catch half listening. You're watching The Black Docket. In today's case, Nolan Wells, Part 2, The GPS Lie, The 4th Boat, and the videos they keep taking down. If you're new here, subscribe, and tell us where you're watching from. Now, in water this shallow, they said down stops starts. With the boats, Jay began with the GPS points plotted from Wyatt's boat, the same points that were plugged into Google Earth and turned into the slides.
Pause. We lit. Y'all got that so far, man. Yo, listen, man. YouTube is a beast. They be figuring these crimes out, man. We just a new part of the situation, yo. But bills need to be paid at times. So this part of the show right here, man, it was going to be sponsored by stickermill.com. Now what you can do, man, you can go to stickermill.com, man, /Dabrand. And guess what? Your first 10 stickers is on me, baby. Because I love you, man. I want y'all to come back. You know what I'm saying? Custom up some hoodies. Put your face on there, man. Look good for the winter, spring, fall that's coming. Skip stickermill.com /Dabrand.
Docks and boats that are not in the story anybody told. And she says this is now the third time she has had to remake this video because they keep taking it down. So do yourself a favor. Put the phone down, turn the volume up, and pay close attention, because the details in this one are not the kind you catch half listening. You're watching The Black Docket. In today's case, Nolan Wells, Part 2, The GPS Lie, The Fourth Boat, and the videos they keep taking down. If you're new here, subscribe and tell us where you're watching from. Now let us get into it. She started where the data starts. With the boats. Jay began with the GPS points plotted from Wyatt's boat, the same points that were plugged into Google Earth and turned into the slides inside the report. Then she overlaid them on top of research she had already been doing, and it should have been easy. It was not. Line up the islands, and the rest would not match. Line up the marina, and the islands drifted. Her instinct, and she says this is alleged and she cannot prove it, is that somebody manipulated the image to cover something. So she did the honest thing. She focused on the top half of the map, the marina and the grandparents' house, and followed the boats. And the boats tell a story. The track runs right next to the marina, connected to a man named Marty McGrath, the same man Katie McCormack says she caught a ride home with. It juts out toward a dock, as if a boat was pulling up to it. It passes 2 houses, where a boat appears to pull into a private dock. Then it runs all the way down through a narrow lock area to the bridge. Why go all the way to the bridge just to turn around? Because right there sits a large fishing pier. And right next to that pier sits the Ocean Springs Yacht Club. And a lot of these families are connected to that yacht club. Then, before she went any further, Jay said she wanted you to hear something. A recording that has been circulating. It has not been authenticated. She says as much herself, but she says it sounds genuine to her, and it works with her data.
Y'all ready for today's Nolan Wells info drop? So first off, we remember these GPS coordinates that were plotted for us, remember? Those GPS coordinates were taken from Wyatt's boat and they were plugged into Google Earth, and they developed a PowerPoint slide that we saw there that mapped out all of the points. So I decided to overlay those Google points on top of the points of the research that I'd already been doing. I discovered some interesting stuff, because if they were just overlaying it on Google Earth, it should have been easy as cake, right? Well, I cannot tell you how many hours I spent trying to perfectly overlay this. Like, look at the islands in the middle here. I get them lined up, and then other things won't match up. Like, you'll notice, like I said, these islands, look, they aren't moving, but everything else around it isn't working. So right away, my instincts are telling me that somebody manipulated this image to cover something up. Of course, that is alleged. I can't prove that, but, you know, it's supposed to just overlay. So honestly, I just did the best I could, and I mostly just focused on the top half, trying to get like the marina and the grandparents' house they went to all line up. So now we can really follow which way this boat was driving and the kind of stops it seemed to be making. And if you'll notice here, it goes right next to that marina that I was telling you guys about with the Marty McGrath, which is who, according to Katie, that she got a ride from. So they passed the marina, and as you can see, it juts out almost like it was pulling up to this dock. And then there's these 2 houses here, especially this house, where it seems like the boat pulled into the docks there. Then it went all the way down here. There's a little like lock area here, so you have to go through here. And it went to the bridge. And I was like, why did they go all the way to the bridge to turn around? But it turns out right here is a big old fishing pier. Then right next to that is the Ocean Springs Yacht Club. And a lot of these families are connected to the yacht club. But before I go on, I want to play a portion of this audio that's supposedly like a voicemail that has been going going around. It hasn't been authenticated, but it has important information. Because I'll be honest, it sounds genuine to me, and it works with my data. So hold on.
But he was like, oh, I'm just going to go back with Katie. And we'll be right behind y'all. We were all going to the same house, the same place. He was like, I'll be right behind y'all. Y'all go ahead without me. I'll see y'all. Like, I'm literally going to be right behind y'all, whatever. So, Wyatt and all them left because they were like, okay, you're just going to go with Katie, whatever. Well, then everybody got back in and we were all at Ava's house and...
So first off, all of us were gonna go to the same place. I'm gonna go in with Katie, meaning Katie was supposed to be at that party with them. Or at least whoever Katie was with was supposed to be at that party, right? But that's not the important part. The important part is the name of the person who was throwing the party was Ava. Now, I found Ava. I'm not gonna put her name out there, but simple Google searches will find this information. And I was able to basically just Google her name and find her address. And so the party was actually right in this yellow area. Again, I'm not gonna be like pointing out people's houses, but I found it. After they leave this pier that's right next to the yacht club, they go all the way back and then they hook around and they go right next to where the party is. And then that's when they finally go and take the boat out of the water. Now, it seems to me like they were dropping people off, like, because look how it goes in a little bit, almost like it was pulling into this pier at the marina, like I suspected. And they were just making the rounds, dropping people off before the party. Now, her family and Wyatt's family, Warren's family, they're all connected. They're also part of the yacht club stuff. All of these rich families are super close, super connected. They're taking each other's kids on vacations, etc. Well, like just in May, there was a joint birthday party. In the background of this birthday party from the beginning of May, there's Warren's mom, there's his little brother, and right there in the background is the mayor of Ocean Springs, Bobby Cox. In fact, here's another picture of him from the party, just in case that profile view wasn't enough for you. Oh, and he was tagged in the picture. Oh, and remember Lieutenant Carone, the first person on the report that we see when Nolan's mom called him missing? Well, as it turns out, someone that he's related to, I can't pinpoint exactly how the relation is, but their maiden name is the same as his last name. Yeah, turns out they have the same last name as who? The girl whose party it was. And I have confirmed that that woman is mutual friends of the mother of the girl who threw the party. And I'm gonna go ahead and just wild guess theory, this is alleged, but I'm gonna go ahead and guess that the reason they waited so long to tell the mom was they were waiting to make sure that he was on shift. This is why I'm thinking more and more that they brought Nolan back to the house. Everybody got their stories straight and stuff, and then they waited to tell Nolan's mom until he was going to be on his shift and taking that phone call. Which is probably why nobody was sent out to look for him that fucking night. That's why we don't have any footage of them going back to the grandparents' house up there. That's why no pictures from this supposed party ever came out.
We are not presenting that recording as evidence. We are presenting it as a question, the same way she does, because the voice on it says the one thing the official story never did. We were all going to the same house. In the official story, Nolan stayed behind on the island, while his friends went home. But the voice on that recording says everyone, including the speaker and Katie, was headed to the same place, a party, and Jay found the party. It was hosted by a young woman she calls Ava. Jay will not publish her address, and neither will we, but public records put that party inside the same zone the boats kept circling. After they leave the pier next to the yacht club, the track hooks around and runs right past where the party was. Then, and only then, does the boat finally come out of the water. To Jay, it looks like a drop-off route, making the rounds, dropping people at a party before the boats get put away. And the families at that party are not strangers to each other. Katie's family, Wyatt's family, Warren's family, connected, close. Yacht club members, taking each other's kids on vacations. In a joint birthday party from early May, Jay found Warren's mother and his little brother in the background, and tagged in the same photo the mayor of Ocean Springs, Bobby Cox. A birthday photo proves nothing by itself, but it tells you how small this world is. Then Jay pulled the thread that ties that small world to the night Nolan went missing. The first name on the report, the officer who took the call when Christine Wansley reported her son missing, is a lieutenant. Jay found a woman connected to that lieutenant, same last name, mutual friends with the mother of the girl who threw the party. She cannot pinpoint the exact relation. She says so, but then she asks the question that follows. What if they waited to tell Nolan's mother until that officer was on shift? What if the group brought Nolan back, got their stories straight, and only then made the call to the person they knew would take it? It is a theory. She labels it a theory. But it would explain why nobody was sent out to look for him that night, why no footage exists of the return, why no pictures from the party ever surfaced. And it would explain Katie, because Jay matched swimsuits. Katie's own Snapchat shows her in a teal swimsuit beside a friend in a blue and white stripe. In the video of the 3 boats, a girl in a blue and white stripe stands on Bart's boat, and right beside her, same long wet hair, a girl in teal. In the video of the boat being towed, teal swimsuit, white hat, and on the shore, right after the fight, red trunks. Jay's conclusion, offered as visual analysis and nothing more, is that Katie was not where her story says she was. She was with the group, leaving with the group. Then one last detail on the route. The report says the vessel headed southwest toward St. Martin Bayou. In St. Martin sits the Biloxi Bay RV Resort and Marina, co-owned, according to Jay's research, by that same name, Marty McGrath. A massive dock sitting far out in the water, right next to the grandparents' house. And the trip to that boat ramp took 45 minutes by boat. By land, it takes about 6. And Jay has one thing she wants to say directly to Katie. You're young, and I know you don't realize this yet, but these are not your friends. Be a hero. Do what's right. Because when she finally laid out the full timeline, the story started contradicting itself out loud. 3 boats, 2 stories, 1 afternoon. Jay's timeline starts with the boats in the group that day. The Palm Beach, the Triton, and the Tideline. Warren said they arrived at 10:30, even though the GPS dropped its waypoint at 11:19. He said all 3 boats anchored up next to each other, and around 3 o'clock, the fight. Traston, tangling with a stranger who did not like how he was talking to his girlfriend, an uncle yelling to get in the boat, and Warren's own brother pulled into a scuffle of his own.
Okay, this is my full Nolan Wells timeline with my supporting evidence. There were 3 boats in their group that day: Palm Beach, the Triton, and the Tideline. Warren said they got there at 10:30, even though the GPS said that they dropped their waypoint at 11:19. He said the Tidecraft, the Palm Beach, and the Triton were all anchored up next to each other. At 3 o'clock, he gets into a fight with some stranger who didn't like the way that he was talking to his girlfriend because, I mean, look at the way he was talking in this interview, I don't blame them. And they had a fist fight. His uncle was like, "We're getting the hell out of here."
I remember at one point in time, I look over and I see my uncle, and my uncle's yelling at me to get in the boat. I stopped fighting. As soon as me and him made eye contact, I got an uncle. I got in the boat.
Then Warren says that his brother was also involved in the same fight.
He'll come up to me and say, "Hey, your brother just got in a fight." And obviously, I have a younger brother, and that's what she was talking about, and I was freaked out. So I walked over to the beach, and I didn't walk over. I ran over. I made a beeline. I didn't talk to anybody, put my drink down, and walked over there. And my brother was kind of angry, and there was a lot going on, but someone was getting pulled away. I don't know who it was. And my brother was like, "Oh, I just got in a fight." And this guy punched me in the face, and I punched him right back. Then I went to the ground. My brother put him in an armbar. And Nolan involved in any of this? Absolutely not. When I was over there, there was a bunch of younger guys like my brother's age, and I mean, Nolan. I never saw Nolan over there. Absolutely not. And okay, sorry, I just lost my. So you get ready to go. There's an issue with the boat. Okay, yeah. This is up to that. So the fight happened. You got your brother or the scuffle. I'm assuming that it was cleared up. You got your brother out of this situation, and then
after the fight, the boat story begins, and this is where Jay, who grew up around boats, starts shaking her head. Warren said he got on the Triton and found about 6 inches of water at the transom. The bilge was failing. A buddy was pulling trash out of it. Wyatt jumped in the water and threw a rear anchor. And the explanation given for the flooding was that people getting on and off the boat dragged the water in.
How did you find out that this boat is sinking?
Well, I walked back over, and we're probably around each other for a little bit. I mean, I wasn't thinking anything about it. I told my brother, I pulled my brother off the beach. I was just like, "Listen, get in the water, hang out with us, calm down." I mean, he was calm, but I didn't want anything else to happen, And so once I got back over the boat, I got on the Triton, and the Triton had probably about 6 inches of water up to the transom. And I was freaked out because I'm good friends with Wyatt, and that was his boat. And,
no water's coming out, no access water's coming out, and it was a big issue. Because I think the reason was because there's so many people getting on and off the boat. At some point, the boat was very, very crowded, and there's just a lot of people on, so that drags water.
Yeah, that's not how boats work. Boats don't flood getting in and out of water. Mind you, I'd also like you guys to see that they are in much shallower water than they claim. But I digress. As someone whose parents have had several boats in their life, boats don't just start sinking because people are getting in and out of the water. I think they were trying to run as well because there is an underage kid who just got into a physical fist fight on the island. All of them are drinking and driving boats, so they're trying to hightail it out of there. Now, Warren goes into so much detail that he accidentally explains what really happened, but not in the way that he was saying it.
I think over time we were out there for a couple hours. The boat just started filling up with water, so I popped the starboard side hatch, and the battery was completely underwater, and so the motor wouldn't trim down. I mean, my buddy would go to trim it down from the console, and it trimmed down, and then it come right back up.
Now, trimming the motor means they move the propeller closer to the transom and it lowers the bow, which means they can drive through choppy water without risking that choppy water to come into the boat. Failing to trim your boat up and taking off at a high speed can not only overheat very quickly and cause it to shore, but if waves are high, it won't cut through the wake and it will cause the boat to porpoise and possibly have rough, choppy waters get on your boat.
So, I mean, on the way out there, it was pretty calm. I think it was blowing like 3 or 4 knots. I mean, the waters were clear. It was a great day to be on the water. Sunshine, not cloudy at all. And I mean, it was a great day to be out there on 4th of July. And so, I mean, we followed each other out, and I mean, it was calm. It was calm. On the way back, it was a little more rough, but it was not anything all my buddy's boats couldn't handle, or like it wasn't like we were getting beat, really beat.
Now, as you can see, it is tilted up here in the back, and look how low the front is. He admitted that they hit choppy water at one point, so not that hard of a stretch to think that the water started coming over the boat, and that's when they were in trouble. That's when the bilge pump stopped working. Because Warren, when they claimed that they were leaving and he was jumping into action because it was sinking, he says this.
Maybe disabled so you couldn't get it out from Horn Island. So what happens after that?
Wyatt jumps in the water, tries to throw a rear anchor, and my buddy Byron, you're sitting looking, trying to pull trash out the bilge, and the bilge is basically a pump that pulls the water, the access water out the boat. So the bilge was failing to work. So any access water just sitting in the boat wasn't getting pumped out. So I looked over the gunnel and I looked at the release hole for the bilge, and it was eating with the water. So, I mean, we're all freaking out. All of our, we're not focused on anything else other than the boat. Well, then, eventually, my buddy Bart on the timeline is like, I'm going to pull you all out.
So even though they were still on the island, he jumps out and throws out an anchor? Why did they pull the anchor up to begin with if they were sinking? If they were sinking, why was Bart offering to tow them out? Why would they risk being that close to the island and that close to ground?
My parents don't know.
To sink out further. Because again, look at how shallow of water these boats are in. What I suspect is that everybody just hauled ass and left, but because the trim was not going down, it overheated, that stalled out, then the crashing waves were freaking everybody out. But even Warren couldn't keep his story straight or his timeline straight because then listen.
All of our, we're not focused on anything else other than the boat. Well then, eventually, my buddy Bart on the timeline is like, I'm going to pull you all out. So we're around all this, all this chaos. We left at 4:30 and there were still just as many people there, if not more, than when we got there. I mean, probably around the same amount. It was crazy. Like, there was a lot of people. And, I mean, eventually, Bart pulls us out. We left at 4:30, but we really weren't pulled out away from everybody. We were probably about a quarter mile out.
So he says it right there, that Bart pulls them out. They leave at 4:30. And you may be thinking, well, he pulled them after. He towed them after, but...
Out. We left at 4:30, but we really weren't pulled out away from everybody. We were probably about a quarter mile out, and we had the towing strap pulled from, Bart's port side cleat, or starboard side cleat, and he was on our starboard side bow. And so it was rubbing on his power pole. So Bart turned around, pulled up next to our boat, and we were just trying to get situated.
So that's when Wyatt called Cito.
We know that phone call was around 4 p.m. to the private towing company. Now, in my last video, I went into detail with the Bart, the fight, all of that stuff, the discrepancies between like the neck of water and then suddenly being in 31 feet of water, etc. I'm going to skip over that. Now,
Boats do not flood because people swim. Jay says it plainly. Her read is different. A boat, not trimmed up, taking off at high speed into chop, will porpoise, slam, and ship water over the bow. Overheat, stall. Warren's own interview admits the motor was filling with water, the battery was underwater, and the trim would not go down, which means the flooding was not caused by the island. It was caused by the way they left it. Hauling ass, underage kids, a fight, drinks, and a reason to run. And then the questions stack. If they were sinking, Why pull the anchor? If they were sinking, why was Bart offering a tow, hanging that close to ground, in water this shallow? They say they left at 4:30, towed a quarter-mile out, tow strap rubbing, boats rubbing, trying to get situated. And that is when Wyatt called Sea Tow, around 4 o'clock, to a private towing company, not 911, a private tow. The boats came home that night, and the story went upstairs with the dad. After the boats were out of the water, the group went to a female friend's house for a pool. All the friends went downstairs to the pool area. Warren did not. Warren went upstairs and talked to the young lady's father about boats. For a while.
The last data point for the GPS was at about 8 o'clock that night. So then they go over to a female friend's house to go to the pool. And yet instead of joining his friends in the pool, this is what Warren did.
At a lady friend's house.
Right, I never got to the pool. I talked to her dad for a while, and I mean, all my friends were downstairs. I went upstairs, talked to her dad. We're talking about boats and stuff, and I've been with my friends all day. I was just talking to everybody, but
So you talked to the young lady's dad, and then how long was it before you realized, or you guys realized that, well, where's Nolan at?
I mean,
All right, well, now I got to stop your ass, because what 18-year-old goes to a friend's house to party, all the friends go downstairs to the pool area, and he goes upstairs to talk to her father about boats? Mind you, these children had been drinking all day long. And he and his buddies don't go home until 3 a.m., mind you. Now, I know it's been a while since I've been 18, but that's a long day in the hot, in the sun, drinking. Sounds to me like you were talking to this dad to help with the story. And then you go downstairs and your friends just so happen to be talking about Nolan, and then you're like, oh my God, I should call the Coast Guard.
Well, I went back downstairs, and all my friends were just hanging out, and my buddy Wyatt had addressed, talking about Nolan, and I was like, well, where is Nolan? Have y'all heard from him?
It just seems pretty convenient that after his powwow upstairs with the father of his friend, he comes downstairs, and then all of a sudden they start talking, have you seen Nolan? No, I haven't seen Nolan. Have you seen Nolan? Maybe we should call this person. We should call his mom. Almost seems like they actually go back downstairs after talking about what they should do about the situation with the dad, or whatever it is they were really doing at that time, came downstairs and started talking about Nolan publicly so that everybody at the party could be organic witnesses to when the conversation happened. Because he kept contradicting himself. He kept saying, I wasn't too worried about it, but then also we know that they can kill people. But also, maybe I would just call the Coast Guard, just to make sure it's okay. I'm so mad I didn't save it, but in one of these interviews, they said that Katie was supposed to come to the party with them later, which is why Nolan said he was going to hang back with her. So why would they dry snitch to their friend's mom before getting in contact with Katie? So as I was making this video, I caught something so big it changes everything. Throughout this entire interview, Warren insisted that Bart's boat was a tide line. He was so sure of it, said it over and over and over again, claimed that there were 20 to 30 people on that boat. By the way he talks about boats and the equipment and stuff, it seems like he has some general knowledge of it and knows a lot about boats. So maybe y'all can tell me why, in this report, when they gathered the GPS evidence, does it say that Bart was driving a tide craft, not a tide line? They're entirely different designs, purposes, manufacturing styles. Mind you, this is what tide crafts look like. They ain't fitting 20 people on them. This is more what tide line boats look like, y'all. So did Bart bring 2 boats with him? As Warren said, Bart's dad was originally supposed to go with them. And tide line boats don't fit 20 people either. So was there a 4th boat out there?
Sit with that. An 18-year-old at a party after a day of drinking on the water, while his friends are downstairs at a pool, goes upstairs to talk to a father about boats. Jay's read is blunt. It sounds like a story being built, not a teenager killing time. Because when he finally comes back downstairs, his friends just happen to be talking about Nolan. Where is Nolan? Have y'all heard from him? Maybe we should call his mom. In public, at a party, where everyone in the house can become an organic witness to the exact moment they realized he was missing. And the contradictions keep coming. In one of these interviews, it was said that Katie was supposed to come to the party with them later, which is why Nolan said he would hang back with her. So why would they run to a friend's mom before ever contacting
That's crazy, because at this point, everybody's suspect, man. Everybody was on them 3 boats. And I would even include Tristan in them boat, because they all was together. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Because right now, they either telling what happened or they suspects, right? Either you telling what happened right now or you a suspect, which means start talking, little kids, or go down with the ship. No pun intended.
Katie, why dry snitch the girl their whole story depends on? Jay keeps returning to one sentence. He kept saying he wasn't too worried, but he also kept saying, maybe we should call the Coast Guard, just to make sure, not worried, and calling the Coast Guard. Both cannot be true. But the biggest crack was not in that night. It was in the boats themselves. Throughout his entire interview, Warren insisted Bart's boat was a tide line. He said it over and over. He is a guy who talks boats like he knows them. So maybe someone can explain why the report, when it gathered the GPS evidence, says Bart was driving a tide craft. Not a tide line, a tide craft. Entirely different designs, different purposes, different manufacturing. And here is what a tide craft looks like. You are not fitting 20 to 30 people on it, which is how many Warren claimed were aboard. So Jay went to the photographs. The Triton, confirmed by the black stripe on its white motor. Bart's black boat, confirmed by its Garmin. The Palm Beach, labeled, striped. And beyond them, half hidden, a black propeller where no Palm Beach name sits. Another boat on the other side of the 3 boats. A 4th boat. She cannot prove it, she says so, but look at what the interviews already admit. Wyatt had 2 boats in the water, the Palm Beach and the Triton. Warren said he rode out with Bart, yet at one point he said all of his stuff was on the Palm Beach. So who drove the Palm Beach out to the water? And what parent lets a kid heading to a party take 2 family boats and hand them to drunk friends? Then the people. Warren said he called Bart that morning. Bart's dad had decided not to go, and Bart suddenly agreed to carry 10, maybe 15, 16 people, on a trip planned for weeks. Where were those people originally supposed to ride? Something is not adding up, and Jay's quiet suspicion is the one nobody has said out loud. She thinks there was an adult somewhere in this mix. It would explain how quickly they thought on their feet. It would explain the sea tow call. It would explain a lot. And then she found GPS data the public has never fully seen. The report everyone read was not the whole report. There are more GPS coordinates in it than what has been shown publicly. Jay plays the clip where Warren describes the run home. 40, 42 miles an hour, planing off, water blowing out, running straight into Fort Bayou, stopping only so Wyatt could hop in and put the plug back in the boat.
Not only have I found more evidence of a 4th boat, not only have I found a lie in their timeline, but I have also discovered a deep political connection, not only to a former governor of Mississippi, but to Turning Point USA. So first off, this picture has surfaced in which it's clearly the group of boats a little bit further out in the water all together. Now here's what is supposedly Bart's boat. We can see the Garmin on top, can confirm this black boat from this other picture. We can see Wyatt's Triton right here, and we can confirm that by the motor. As you can see right here, has that black stripe on the white motor. Now in between the 2 boats is the Palm Beach. You can clearly see it labeled, and it's got that stripe, right? As you can see, the stripe is there, and yet there's this design right here and no Palm Beach. And you may be like, Jay, that doesn't prove that it's a different boat. Maybe we just can't see it, even though it should be right there according to this picture. But if you look in this video, you can see that there is a black propeller right there. See black propeller, and you can very clearly see the Palm Beach right there on the side. But if you look really carefully in this photo, you can see right there a black propeller. There's another boat on the other side of these 3 boats. And given the lack of the name on the boat and the black propeller, I'm gonna assume the Palm Beach is on the other side, which means there's 4 boats right here. Then I rewatched Warren's interview.
And I woke up at my buddy's house, and we went to McDonald's, got food. No one was not with me, and I went and got breakfast. I had my buddy's boat hooked up to my truck, and well, first I ran to my house, then I went to McDonald's and came back, and The boat was already hooked up to my truck. My buddy Wyatt and I went, and with my buddies, we went, filled the top of the boat off, loaded it down with ice, and just got everything ready. Then Wyatt went and put his smaller boat in the water, which is the Palm Beach. He's an 18-foot Palm Beach, and I drove the boat from Fort Bayou Boat Launch to my buddy's grandparents' house, and that's where we all planned to meet up that day.
So Wyatt had his buddy's boat already hooked up to the back of his truck. He said he and Wyatt and his other buddy went and got ice and filled up the boats. And Wyatt went and put the Palm Beach, his smaller boat, into the water. And we know there was a second boat, the Triton, that was driven by Wyatt. Wyatt had 2 boats in the water. Who was driving his other boat?
Nolan was on Wyatt Pyron's 22 Triton. On the way out, I went with my buddy Bart because we had a lot of friends from college coming down, and I called Bart that morning. I was like, "Hey man, can you take your boat out?" And he was like, "Yeah, well, my dad's decided not to go, and I'll take the boat and I'll take you and your friends." Of course, I mean, he's a buddy of mine. And so Bart pulled up at the dock, and I mean, I rode out there with Bart and a lot of the girls that go to college with my friends and I, and Nolan rode out on the Triton, and then we had a Palm Beach, 18 Palm Beach. There was 4 guys on that. There was like 8 people on the Triton, and then there was 8 or 9 people on the Triton, and then there was the rest of the group, which was ranged from maybe 10 to 15 or 16 people.
Now wait a minute. So Warren already had a boat hooked up when he woke up that morning. I'm assuming that had to be the Triton that was hooked up, right? Then he said that Wyatt went and put his smaller boat, the Palm Beach, into the water. Then Warren said that he was the one who drove the Palm Beach to their friend's dock. Assuming that Wyatt drove the Triton to the dock and Bart drove his own boat to that dock, who drove the Palm Beach out to the water then? Because he said that he got a ride in with Bart, even though at one point during the interview he said all of his stuff was on the Palm Beach. So it sounds to me like Warren was the one driving the Palm Beach. I'm also like, what parent would let their kid, who's obviously going off to party, take 2 of their boats and let their drunk friends drive? Like, it isn't making sense to me. I mean, maybe these parents are just shitty parents and irresponsible. Then he also said that he contacted Bart that morning to see if he could come, and Bart was like, yeah, I can give all your friends a ride, blah, blah, blah. According to him, there were 10-ish people, 15 people on that boat. So where were those people originally supposed to ride in on? They'd been planning it for weeks. They were excited about it. Why did Bart have to suddenly step in and take all these people? And remember, Bart said that his dad had canceled going out on the boat that day, so he could do it. Something's not adding up here. I think there was an adult somewhere in this mix. It would also explain how they all thought quickly on their feet with the sea tow. I wouldn't be surprised if an adult didn't come out there and just go off with other adults that were also on Horn Island and let the kids hang out with the boats. Here's where things are going to get interesting, folks. There are more GPS coordinates in the report than what we have seen publicly. I'm going to play you a clip from the interview, but remember, at 5:30 is when they started picking up regular speed, all right? It's right here, 525, speed miles, 30 to 35 knots. So here we go.
Planed off and you have water in the boat and you're hauling, we're going pretty fast. We're going probably 40, 42 miles an hour. And so all that excess water that was built up in the boat is coming out of the boat. So, I mean, that's what we had to do. So we ran into Fort Bayou, and we didn't just run straight to my buddy's grandparents' house. We ran into Fort Bayou. A couple of us jumped in the water, and Wyatt, the whole reason for the stop was so Wyatt could hop in and put the plug back in the boat. So then after that, we went and docked it, and I went back to my buddy's house, and we ate and napped for a little bit. It was a long day at the islands.
Now you heard him. He said that they took off going 40 miles an hour, and they didn't go to his buddy's grandparents' house, but they went to Fort Bayou to go do a plug thing. Except right here, 5:44, vessel arrives at El Camino Road. 8 minutes later, then it departs from El Camino Road and headed east into Fort Bayou. So right there we have a lie. The boat did stop before going into Fort Bayou. 6 minutes later, it comes back to El Camino Road, and the vessel departed El Camino Road half an hour later, headed southwest to St. Martin Bayou, and then turned southeast into Biloxi Bay Bridge. Then they went back to the Bayou boat launch. Then the boat was taken to Cardinal Lane, which was Wyatt's residence. Now, because I am an absolute genius, I was able to find it. This was where they left and where they came back that day. Then came back several times. Now, first off, Why aren't we seeing footage of them returning that day? We know that Nolan was with them when they left. So why do they have the security cams from that morning, but not that night? Whose grandparents live there? Jax Patalo, whose family owns a pharmacy. It goes back deeper than that because George Patalo Sr., which is Jax's great-grandfather who is deceased, as it turns out, his great-grandfather was appointed and served on the staff of Mississippi Governor Cliff Finch. As you can see, I've confirmed Jax's relation to him. And as it turns out, Cliff Finch, well, he was in the Mississippi House of Representatives from 1960 to 1964 and supported racial segregation and backed the racist governor, to preserve segregation in the state. The federal grand jury conducted a 3-year-long investigation into his administration and several state agencies, and they were all accused of corruption and mismanagement. But Finch was never found guilty himself, but some of his aides and appointees were indicted. And those sort of political connections seem to trickle down through the generations, so now we know why the governor got involved. And I started looking into the lawyer that's handling the defamation case from the Bart family. So from 2015 to 2018, he was state director of Americans for Prosperity. Then in 2018 to 2020, he was vice president of Stand Together while being vice president of Americans for Prosperity. Stand Together is a Charles Koch nonprofit, and Americans for Prosperity is a libertarian conservative political advocacy group affiliated with Charles Koch and David Koch. And if you don't know who the Koch brothers are, they're fucking evil. Guess who's one of the major funders for Turning Point USA? Major donors for the Koch brothers also are primary financial pillars for Turning Point USA, specifically their campus operations. And guess who used to serve as the director of urban engagement?
A clean, panicked run home, except the GPS says otherwise. At 5:44, the vessel arrives at El Camino Road. 8 minutes later it departs, heading east into Fort Bayou. 6 minutes after that, it comes back to El Camino Road, and the vessel did not depart El Camino Road again until half an hour later, headed southwest towards St. Martin Bayou, then southeast to the Biloxi Bay Bridge, then back to the Bayou boat launch, and then the boat was taken to Cardinal Lane, Wyatt's residence. Read that again. The boat stopped before Fort Bayou. It stopped, left, came back, and sat for 30 minutes. None of that is in Warren's story. And when Jay looked at the grandparents' house where they docked, the house of a young man named Jax Patalo, whose family owns a pharmacy, she found the question nobody has answered. The property has security cameras. There is footage of them leaving that morning. There is no footage of them returning that night. Then she went deeper. Jax's great-grandfather, George Patalo Sr., served on the staff of Mississippi Governor Cliff Finch. Finch sat in the State House from 1960 to 1964, backed the segregationists who fought to preserve the old order, and presided over an administration a federal grand jury spent 3 years investigating for corruption and mismanagement. Finch was never convicted himself. Some of his appointees were indicted. That is history, not theory. Then Jay looked at the lawyer handling the defamation case for Bart's family. State Director of Americans for Prosperity from 2015 to 2018, Vice President of Stand Together, a Charles Koch nonprofit, from 2018 to 2020. And the Koch brothers are among the major funders of Turning Point USA. Public affiliations, documented, verifiable. Here is where we slow down, because this is the moment a lesser channel would start selling you a conspiracy. We are not. A mayor tagged in a birthday photo is not a cover-up. A lawyer's old job is not a crime. A family with political history is not proof of anything about what happened to Nolan Wells. None of what Jay has found proves how Nolan died. None of it names a killer. What it proves is narrower and, in a way, more important. The timeline told by the friends is not settled. The boat stopped where the story says it did not. A fourth vessel may exist that no one has accounted for, and the people inside this story are woven into a small, connected, powerful community that has every reason to control the narrative. That is not a verdict. That is a map. The grand jury is still coming. The cell phone has still not been downloaded. The state autopsy is still sealed. And now, layered on top of all of it, there is a GPS track with a 30-minute stop nobody can explain, a voicemail nobody has authenticated, and a fourth boat nobody has named. If you are following this case, subscribe to the Black Docket now so you do not miss part 3, and leave one comment below. Which thread should we pull first? The voicemail, the fourth boat, or the connections? Because Nolan's family is still waiting, and the least we can do is keep paying attention.
That's a fact. Because you would want somebody to pay attention if the shoe was on the other foot. You understand me? If you was the one with a missing baby boy or girl, and they was trying to tell you to feed you this nonsense. What? What? Man, now that you know that your boy Dabrand knows, I'm just happy it ain't Monday.
Monday is the worst, first day of the week.
Hey.
Always seem to feel I never get enough sleep. Tuesday's the one day, feels like a Sunday, and if it wasn't for Monday, I wouldn't even notice.